All right, we have another question here. This one is from Jake. It's a long one, but I'm going to put it up. I'll read it out loud here. Let's see. There we go. Has being in the medical field shown your ways to spiritual connection? Meaning, was there a moment where you asked, is there something I can do to better my mind, body, and spirit rather than just a medical opinion? I think you touched on this a little bit, but I would love for you to elaborate some.
So I had a little bit of enlightenment, and I think that this answers the question. I was an ICU nurse before, a handful of jobs ago, and that was my ultimate, like, if I become an ICU nurse, that's it, because if you can't live there, there's nothing else we can do for you. In my mind, I was like, I would be a very well-trained and educated nurse, and that's where I'd really be helping people. And while I did, I saw what was about 80% of the patients that I had was all self-induced problems and conflicts. And I had worked a long time to get to the ICU, and I left there because I started wondering if I was helping or hurting. I literally was asking myself at the end of the day, am I helping this system or am I hurting this system because of these patients? Just a lack of understanding of, 80% of these people, self-induced problems, me keeping them alive on ventilators and all that. Am I enabling this? So I don't know. That's immediately where my head went. I don't know if I answered the question or not.
Well, and I think that your point is that you were helping people, but it was so far down the line. Like the ICU is really sometimes the end of the line for people, and you wanted to help people farther upstream, where healthcare is really reactive, where if you're proactive, you can really change your own trajectory of literally your lifespan. So
give me a high five real quick. Thank you. Go ahead.
That's, Matt being a personal trainer and wanting to, change behavior is very in line with him being a registered nurse. It's just much farther upstream of keeping people out of that cycle, because once you're into the healthcare system of needing, a lot of the support from medications and doctors and stuff, it's hard. Sometimes that's it. You can't get back upstream.
It's a vicious cycle that you get caught up in, and it's to nobody's fault. I'm not pointing a finger, but it's just you get caught up in that system, and you're like, okay, so what's the next medication, and then what's the next appointment, and what's the next surgery, and it's just like there's so many proactive pieces that I want to help the healthcare industry start adopting. Proactive measures is, I don't want to say it's not done, but it's definitely a more reactive society. So I think that we answered that question. I don't know if it was spot on, but.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and the fact that the experience that you had then shifted you to look more inward and created this space for you. It really shows how even when our life looks like a tangled mess of roads that we have no idea where we're going, the universe is always self-correcting us to exactly what we need to learn, exactly where we need to be, even if it feels like garbage. It is something that we need for our advancement. And one of the things I talk about, it doesn't have anything to do with healthcare, but when we're at an obstacle and when we're stuck, we always want to push ourselves past, or we want to, and I guess it would go with physical also. We try to distract ourselves from it, or we try to force ourselves through the obstacle. There's a reason that you're paused. There's a reason that you're paused. There's a reason that you need to take a moment and take a breath in this space, because maybe you're not ready for what comes next. Like, this is the moment to reassess. And so I think that that's a really important moment, one of those pivotal moments in a person's life where they kind of look around and go, is this the right space for me to be in? And some people will charge forward because that was their goal. Like you said, that was your goal of that ICU. And there are people that would have just stayed there and been miserable. So the fact that you were able to be self-aware enough to change trajectory is like huge, absolutely huge. I love that, because that's what we're doing all the time in our lives, is making these choices. And if we're on that path of unconditional love as the destination, not a place, then every turn that we make, the GPS is always going to guide us back to that, when we have that intention of serving and of connecting with that unconditional love.
And thank you. I appreciate that. And this is not about me. This is still about you, the audience. But expounding on that, it was incredibly difficult to walk away from that. When I say it was incredibly difficult to walk away, I don't mean like I waited and waited and waited. I mean mentally, it was so tough to walk away from that because there were so many people that helped me, educated me, pushed me to get to that point. Years of work to get to there, and to have to tell them I'm not going to do this, it was really, really tough. I mean, nurses that had like been my mother, it was like, all right, this is how you do this. And it just really took me under their wing, and doctors and just people outside of the medical community that I said, this isn't correct. It was really difficult. And I got some backlash for it. And then I got some support in other areas. But I will tell you, the audience, that if you're having something similar like that, you're having that for a reason. You're having those feelings for a reason. And if you can do the more difficult thing, I promise you, it most of the time is going to be the better thing. And I'm so glad, and I'll never go back. I know that it's been so much better for me as a whole. So I say that for you, the audience. I hope that someone out there it hits, and I hope that you can make that shift for you.
Just to let you know, you sound incredibly woo-woo in that moment, because that's what we're all doing.
Nailed it.
So thank you so much.